Welcome to Shaping Stories, a glass artist podcast. Here we sit down with hot glass artists from around the world to explore their creative paths, what inspires them, and the real moments that shape their work. Thank you for being here. Let's light up.
I am here with my friend. Will you introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is David Zimmerman, and I'm a glass blower.
And where do you live, Dave?
I'm living in Baltimore, Maryland now. Well, been pretty much my whole life, not just now. Been blowing glass 22 years now, so a little while.
A little while. Skip the glass part of your life for just one
Okay,
minute and tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, what do you do besides glass?
what do I do? Well, I just recently got into wood turning,
Hmm.
and I've been playing around with some wood and doing some metal work, tinkering with all types of different things. I started as a doing music. So as a kid, I was playing guitar and was a music major in college. And now I'm a glass player, oddly enough. But yeah, so just music. I'm always just tinkering with stuff in my hands, keeping busy.
And a dog dad.
And a dog dad, yep. He's around here somewhere.
Let's get into glass. So, when did you start doing glass? So, like, what triggered that?
Oh, so actually it started way early on when I was a young kid. I saw a documentary on PBS. It was actually Chihuly's Lanterns Over Venice. I still remember it. So I was probably 10 or 9 or 10 at the time. And I was just amazed by it. And one of the scenes that still like I can just go right back to it today is like they were up on the ladder and they cut the chandelier and it falls down into the canal in Venice, and it's just something that just blew my mind. So I was just amazed by that way back when, and then I still showed an interest in it. 17th birthday came around, and parents remembered I showed an interest in it and gave me glass blowing lessons as a present. Kind of started from there. Took basic beginner class, just like pretty much most people do, unless you go to college before it. But make a little caterpillar, start out, and then just kind of progress from there. Took the intermediate class after that because once you fall in love with glass, you kind of fall in love with it. And then yeah, so I just kind of progressed, taking a few more classes, then started renting time. But at that point, I was starting college, couldn't afford to rent time as much as I wanted to. And then I just called them up and said, hey, can I just like sweep the floors and just watch and just try and absorb anything I can? And they were like, yeah, here, sweep this, do this. And then they were like, here, heat this, do this. And then just started working for them. So I just fell into place there. And it was a really great intro, I feel like, to learn how to blow glass because they were more of a production type of a glass studio. So you're just sitting there making cups all day long. So you really get those fundamentals kind of down pretty quickly just by doing it such a repetition. And then yeah, that was kind of the origins of it way long time ago.
Okay,
I,
so you're going to college for music.
yes.
Where
So
were you going to college for music?
so
Where?
I just went to community college. So I went to Harvard Community College, so a little north of Baltimore. And, just got my AA in musical composition, and then yeah, kind of just was in a few bands and playing around, and then I decided, obviously, music scene is very saturated. There's tons of everyone plays music, and then I was like, maybe I'll go into the recording avenue. So like a job prospect. So I went to Sheffield Recording Institute, started learning how to use all that equipment, recording bands, and did all that, and then got a job for a production company. And we were doing a bunch of live stuff, and they actually had a contract with Nordstrom, so we were doing mostly fashion shows, oddly enough, because that's where most of the money is in the corporate industry, unfortunately. And started doing lighting. I found out I kind of like doing lighting more than running sound. And when sound's going good, no one pays any attention to you. As soon as that sound cuts off, all eyes come right to you, and then the pressure's on, it's stress. Whereas when you're running lights, of light flickers a little bit, it just goes along with the show most of the times, and it's way less stressful and also just a lot more fun, especially when you're doing light for a band. Like you're essentially like a new member because you can use the lights to affect how they play, add tension and what have you. So after doing sound, lighting was probably the thing that I really enjoyed most doing, and I had a lot of fun doing that. But unfortunately, then the recession happened back in '08, and the jobs dried up, and got a job at Guitar Center just to get make ends meet. But still, always I was always blowing glass the whole time. So it was only just like 1 or 2 days a week, still just trying to get in studio as much as I could. Then after I kind of just left the whole production world behind, I then got a job at a glass studio in Baltimore, and just happened to be right place, right time. I walked in. He was shut down for the summer. Walked in, just like looking around. I was like, "Hey, I'm a glass blower. I'm just in Baltimore." And then kind of one thing led to another, and I started working for him. And that was like my first like full time glass blowing gig. And then it was just it's been nice ever since.
So what was the first studio that you learned in? Was it kind of a blow your own situation at first or?
No, that's kind of where I'm at right now, more so. But where I first started, they're kind of out in the middle of nowhere, kind of this place called Art of Fire. Great place, love them. They're like family to me. That's where I started. I was working for them for 9 years before I kind of left. Really great people there. Um, and then, yeah, so I worked for them for about 9 years, kind of again just off and on. And what's really interesting is again they're kind of out in the middle of nowhere, but like they would have like old Stu Ben guys that were renting there, and I was just kind of like their hired hand, just assist anyone who was there. Johnny Tosa would were right there as well. So like even though it was like out in the middle of nowhere, like there's some really skilled glass blowers coming in, and I got to kind of just watch how they were done, and I feel like you you can learn a whole lot from watching, but you need to sit down at the bench and really give it a whirl. But being able to see really good glass blowers in action was really nice for my little young brain.
And what was it like making that big shift when you left what career path you had originally thought of, and then you're switching over to glass, which you obviously invested a lot into, but that's a big shift.
Yeah, it was a little scary because I had just regular kind of 8 to 5 at Guitar Center. So I used to do their like run their recording side, and then I got into the more logistics, like all the shipping and receiving and all stuff like that. So it was like it's just steady job. You can count on it, set your watch by it. And then got into the glass, and hours became a little bit more shifty. We're gonna do make your owns on this weekend here, this normal production, kind of 10 to 6 um, during the week, and then so it was just gonna be a little bit more versatile, move around a little bit, be more flexible. But still, I got my hands on glass all day long, so I was ecstatic, even though I was actually making less money than I was at Guitar Center. So, but I was okay with taking a pay cut to play with Pretty Love every day, you know. So I was, I was enjoying it. And then,
What did
but
your friends and family think? Were they like, you're crazy? You're going from
oh
the
yes, my parents were definitely worried. They were a little scared that I was like, oh, he's just not going to be able to make it. He's going to be a starving artist the rest of his life. But as it went on, and I've done it more and more and gotten better, actually make stuff that looks kind of decent and something would want to buy. Then they were got a lot more happy. They're like, oh, you're good on you. You're doing what you love. You enjoy every day. They really embrace it and are really happy for me, which is really nice too.
it's important to have that support, right?
Hmm. Yeah, very much so.
So the when you left Guitar Center, you went to the place that you're working at still to this day?
So no, I left Guitar Center and then started working for Corradetti Glass Studio in Baltimore, in like the Hampton area of Baltimore. And I worked for him for like 2 years. It was a beautiful studio. It's in like pre like Civil War mills. So his studio was like I think they made like train or tractor parts in there. So it had just like all really old exposed brick, these giant I beams that they used to like move the metal around. and it's just a really beautiful area. But I was working for him for a couple years, and he was paying me as an independent contractor, and I kept getting hit with some mystery big tax bills at the end of the year. Again, I was took a pay cut, so I was making less money, and then I had a big tax bill. Then after I left there, because I was just money wasn't right, I went back to Art of Fire because I had left for a brief moment. So, and they do the Renaissance Festival in Maryland. It's a huge. Maryland's like one of the biggest Rena fests of the whole country. So that's their like for like a couple months out of the year, it's just nonstop go. They can't make glass fast enough to fill the shelves because there's just so many people there. And then also doing demonstrations there, which is kind of fun. You get to say hear ye all the time and say fun words. And meet a lot of interesting people at Ren fairs as well. Just kind of like a temporary thing, just kind of like just making sure that they were good. And then I left there, and now I'm working at McFadden Art Class, and I've been there for 15, so about 10 years now. I've been at McFadden Art Class. That one is it's a little bit more make your own based. So we're every day. We're if you want to come in and make glass, we'll get you in. There's no like just on the weekends or what have you. You want to come in and make glass? If all right, let me as soon as I'm finished making this, who's a what's it? I'll put that down and I'll help you make some glass. And we have like a project table of like 20 projects that they can choose from. Been doing that for about 10 years now. So so a lot of make your owns, but and in between, always just the hole's running. So start making something. Make a cup. Oh, you got 15 minutes before the next group comes in, make something real quick and then help these people out and then get back to making more stuff. So that's kind of been my rhythm for the past 10 years.
Can you talk more about what was the setup for the Ren Fairs? So were you doing production while like entertaining people at the same time, or was the production on the side to fill the shelves and then the demos were like a little more flashy?
The demos we tried to keep them to be about 15-minute demos. So usually it was just enough time to make a cup or something little quick. Because again, it's a big crowd and there's a lot of people want to come and see. So we kind of just tried to cycle people through relatively quickly. Yeah, it was just like a lot of mugs. People like mugs. And then a lot of times too, it's like they wanted a special custom order thing. We'd be like, all right, you get to watch us make your personal thing. So sometimes we would do a little longer demos if there was like something a little bit more substantial, like a pitcher or something that takes just a little bit more time, or like something like champagne flute, something that's a little bit more showy to watch. But it's just essentially something quick where you can like stretch the glass out, get a little motion in the glass. So it's some all to the demonstration, but nothing that's going to be too in depth. That's going to take up a lot of time because people don't really want to sit there and watch like a 3 hour long. Like if I'm sculpting something like photorealistic, yeah, the end result's really cool, but like sitting there watching it can get a little boring if you're not super into glass.
Is this all outside? Were you running like a baby dragon or something like that?
So the at the Maryland Ren Fair, it's the village is there year round. And it goes from August to November, I believe. So you're outside. We built all the equipment. So in August, I wore a kilt too because you got to wear the usual garb. So I was wearing a kilt, which was really nice because they had a little fan right at the base of the glory hole. So you just lift your leg, get a nice little updraft in there. So it kept you nice and cool in the summertime. But when it got towards November, it started getting a little chilly with that kilt. But yeah, that was pretty much the the run was those months there. And yeah, built all our equipment and just lived there. You shut it off November, and then you come back next year right before it starts, make sure all the equipment's working again. So it was really nice that it just stays there. They have security guards. I guess they watch it year round. I'm really sure, but it's a really cool. If you ever get a chance, check out the Maryland Ren Fair. It's a really cool little village area there.
I like think about blowing glass outside in August down in the southern region. That definitely must have been kind of hot.
Yeah, it's pretty toasty. Yeah, for sure. The studio I'm at now, we do mobile events. So all summer we're driving that thing out, and just going out sitting on some parking lot, baking in the tarmac and the 90-degree heat, got the furnace blasting at you. So it's you just a lot of sweating.
Right. And I keep thinking of all the elements to it. So, like running the equipment and managing that, making the glass, and being a people person at the same time, right? And
Oh yes, it's
on it. So, like you're doing three different roles all at the
yeah.
same time. It must have been a lot.
Oh, 100%. You're spinning lots of plates. So yeah, it's like you're literally building an entire studio every single time. So you literally pack everything up, drive everything there for extended periods of time. So you're dealing with traffic, getting there, and then get there, unload everything, build a studio, get the furnace up the temperature before people start showing up. And then once all you've pretty much had a good full day before that started, and then you got a whole day of actually blowing glass and being the fun jokester person that you are, and just trying to share your enthusiasm with glass with a bunch of people and get them to make a fun little project out of it. And then it's time to button it all back up again and drive on back home. So it's a very, very long, exhausting day for sure, that you're again spending lots of places, lots of things going on.
Did you learn the studio setup, like repair, maintenance stuff just through time, or did somebody take some time to sit down and like mentor you through that?
Well, again, at Art of Fire, fortunately, again, they build all their equipment there, which was really, really educational, which I feel like is not so focused on in a lot of colleges. So I feel like it's very lacking, and I think it really should be, because that's a huge part. If your glory hole goes down and you don't know how to fix it, you're just out of work until you can find there isn't many glory hole repairmen out in the wild. So
Right.
it can be shut down for a while. So fortunately they built all their equipment, and I was just always there, just trying to absorb any knowledge I could. And so like I was a part of like rebuilding the furnace like I think three times there. We built a bunch of glory holes, burners, and fortunately the owner, Foster, he recently passed away now, but he was a huge wealth of knowledge, and any question I could ever have, want to know what's what and how to do this or that, he had a he knew how to do it, and he would easily want to tell you how to do it. And all the guys there at Art Fire too are also very, very knowledgeable about building equipment and just how things work. So yeah, just interning there for as long as I did was a very, very good beneficial uh, time for me in learning.
So it sounds like they were really good at like being a team because a lot of what you do is really team involved, right? It
Oh yeah.
doesn't just fall on you to do it all. You kind of have to shift and take roles, right?
Well, Art of Fires particularly, like everyone had their like product line. Oh, you're doing your feathered vases today, and usually it would work out if you were lucky. You had an intern, so they had two benches where you and another person would be making glass, and then intern would be kind of popping back and forth, bringing you a lip wrap over here, a punny over there. And that's kind of like how the rhythm was there. Where I'm at now, it's I've kind of become a little bit more self-sufficient in glass blowing, just because a lot of times, sometimes glass blowers are flaky, and you want to have an assistant. They don't show up that day, or what have you. So learning how to pony up a couple on your own is very beneficial, and it can save you a lot of time and money, not having to rely on an assistant. Using the blow hose so you can blow and shape at the same time, and that makes things a lot more efficient. And again, you just don't have to rely on people, but there's a lot, especially when you want to make something bigger. It's a good assistant's worth their weight in gold, because just something as simple as just someone there just to open the door if you have a big piece is super, super beneficial. Even though it's not a very glamorous job, but they're they're a hero.
Yeah. Can you describe the studio that you work at now? Maybe just the surface of it, but also like the nerdiness of it. So is it like a building within a city? Is there a gallery? Like what kind of furnace do you have?
Okay,
How's the setup of it going?
so we have two furnaces. One's a Stettleman, one's a hub design furnace. One's 300 pounds, one's 135, and we have those running pretty much nonstop. We used to shut one off in the summertime and just kind of keep things cool, and also things usually slow down a little bit in the summertime. But honestly, since Blown Away came out, the attention for glass has kind of really peaked, and it really hasn't stopped. So since that show came out, we've been still running just two furnaces, and it's only down just enough time that we can swap the pot out and get it back up to temperature again and get more people in there making glass. And even in the summertime. So it's one of the hottest studios I've worked in. And it's pretty hot in there in the summer. But yes, still people want to come in, they want to make glass. We also do have a gallery. So the studio we're at now, it used to be an old like mechanics garage that was like detached from a house. So the mechanics garage turned into the glass studio, and then a few years later, Tim, the owner, had built on an addition to it, more than doubled the space. And then the house turned into a gallery. So the whole first floor of the house is just nothing but glass. Then like the basement is where we do all like the shipping and receiving. People that are building their studios, that's the one thing you find out is how quick space fills up with just the little things like just the glass that you made previous where you got to store it, then ship it out, like all those things. Just packing material in general takes up a lot of space. That whole first floor is our gallery, got a bunch of glass in there, and we're located right on the east side of the city. So it's pretty easy to get to. It's literally right where Eastern Avenue and 95 meet. Get off the exit, and we're literally right at that corner. So it's pretty nice and easy and convenient. And we also have four glory holes that we work out of. Um, One that's a little bit smaller, two medium size, and then one much larger hole for making nice big stuff.
So are there people that run the gallery and do like the social media website stuff, or do you all kind of just do it all?
No one really runs the gallery. We do have someone. So Tim, the owner, his wife, she does like all the scheduling and she'll post the social media. So she kind of handles all the administrative stuff for us. I'm just the glass grunt. I just want to make the glass. As you can see from my social media, I'm the worst at it. Uh, it just doesn't come natural to me at all. But yeah, so she handles all that administrative stuff so that we don't have to, which is really nice.
Do you find that there's a bunch of skilled glass artists around that you have enough help, or are you always training new people, or do you take interns, or a little bit of everything?
Always need glass blowers. There's so few and far between, especially skilled glass blowers that can do make your owns the way we do. So I pretty much blow more glass left-handed than right-handed nowadays because we're sitting in front of the bench and we let them do all the tooling and whatever, and we just have a blow hose to blow. So they're shaping everything at the bench, and I'm just in front of them. A lot of left-handed glass blowing being done in our glass studio.
Are there any like glass universities or other schools around?
Yeah, so the closest ones, so we're not too far from Philly, so Temple's right up there. And then on the Eastern Shore, Salisbury University, they both have glass programs there. So Tim, the owner, and then two other employees at the studio, they went to Salisbury. And then we got a couple other one went to school in Ohio. And then a couple other of us just took beginner classes and learned and just put in the hours to become a good glass blower. Kind of like you don't have to go to universities to blow glass. You can start from square one. But yeah, there is some universities nearby. There just aren't enough glass blowers, unfortunately. And it's still when you get out of university, you're only blowing glass what a couple of years. You're still very green. You're not a good glass blower when you first start out. So it takes years to get good at it. That's kind of one of the things that really drew me to glass, just how unbelievably difficult it is. It's probably aside from social media, it's probably the most difficult thing I've ever done. And yeah, it's just juggling multiple plates. You got to turn with this hand. Yeah, the old joke. Hello, Joe. What are you doing? Turn the button with this hand and turn the button this hand. So you're constantly just juggling multiple things. And plus it's screaming hot at you too. So it's like grueling it's just a lot of fun, and then you turn out with this beautiful, pristine looking thing. So your glass studio is this dirty, grimy, fiery, dark environment, and then all of a sudden, you open up the door, and there's this beautiful, shiny, colorful thing that came from it. It's very diamond in the rough kind of a vibe, and a glass studio kind of just it always kind of rings true. I mean, but yeah, it's it's a lot of
You're
fun.
doing good. I know you're gonna do good with this. So what you do is so physical. You are on your feet all day. How does your body feel? Do you have to like really consider that, or do you hurt?
Always. I am
Yeah.
always hurting. My knee, I got the knee of a 90-year-old, elbow of a nine. Like I am always hurting. My back's always hurting. But you just deal with it. I probably
Yeah.
should go to the doctor, but I don't like going to the doctor just like I don't like posting on social media. Um, so yeah, constant back pain. You're always just leaning off to the side all day. So I'm sure any chiropractor's gonna see what we're doing and yell at me. And also go through a lot of tennis shoes, standing on concrete all day. It just it's a it's a tough environment. It's it's it can definitely wear you down for sure.
And so I think you're kind of hard on yourself with how you don't sit down and do social media. But what amazes me is how often you switch gears throughout the day. And I couldn't imagine. So you'll be making things, and then a customer will come in, and you've got to finish what you're making, switch gears to work backwards at the bench to help the customer. The customer will be gone, switch gears again to be doing production. Are you just naturally good at that, or does it ever get exhausting?
It definitely gets exhausting. Just the medium itself, you have to be good at kind of multitasking. Just in practicing material, you learn all these just multitasking skills of, oh, okay, hey, let me finish this piece. I'm almost done. I'll be right with you in 1 second. Then we'll get you started. Uh, while I'm finishing this cup, those are the projects. Look at some colors. So that way they're kind of occupied and just thinking about what they want to do while I'm just over there, just kind of buttoning things up with what I was just previously making. And then it's all on them, and they got the spotlight with me, and then just say my usual again. We're making the same things, like we're making a cup, we're making a cup, we're making a cup over and over again. So it can get monotonous. You're making the same thing, but what's really nice is every single person is different, and like you get to talking, and then you start to realize, oh, you do this. Oh, well, that's my uncle used to do that, or whatever. I just really turn my brain off about actually making the cup. I have my usual like scripts and that you do. It's like, just say pop a little bubble here, hot things expand, cold things constrict, like the usual spiel. But then yeah, just getting to know people and just talking really breaks up the monotony of doing the same thing over and over again. Because again, yeah, just everyone's different. They all come from a different background, and then but they still like you just share your enthusiasm for glass, and it's a wonderful material that just draws you in. It blows people's mind. I always have to like remind them, gather up a glob of glass, and I just let it drip off the pipe a little bit, and like grab it back up, and like that's glass. And like think about their cup at home. It started as just molten blob, pretty little trippy thing that like you have to get your brain to wrap around. This little molten blob turns into this beautiful clear glass at the end. So and then you say the usual stupid jokes. I'm known for all my bad dad jokes at the studio. Everyone's like, "Oh man, this is so cool." I'm like, "No, it's actually very hot." And again, I usually get the, "Oh, jeez, all right, not again, Dave."
Yeah. Are most of your customers, they're just really in it and they appreciate it? Or do you find that you get some people that you can't wait till they leave the door?
Usually no, not so much of that. Because again, you're making a cup. The projects don't last that long. The max you're with someone's like 15 minutes, and then you're grabbing the next person from the party. So it's usually that you don't. I've never really had many bad experiences. I mean, knock on wood. That again, glass is such a mesmerizing material that people are just so in awe that they're doing it, being that close and feeling the heat. Because again, it doesn't, even though when it's molten, but when you're actually shaping the glass and the colors are starting to come out a little bit, it doesn't look hot. But when they're actually there and they're like, oh, this is actually how they feel it. It's like immediate call and response to the material. Kind of gets them out of their element. Like it puts them into like sometimes people tense up and you gotta just remind people to breathe, everything's okay, kind of deal. And yeah, that's it's a lot of fun. Again, everyone's different, so it keeps the day from being boring. If you're sitting there doing production all day, you want to just turn your brain off, crank up some music, and just make a cup over and over again. But when you pepper in a lot of like make your own experiences throughout the day, it breaks up the day. Day doesn't seem quite as long. Again, you get meet new people. Oh, you're a woodworker. I just started turning wood too. So you kind of like just start to create these bonds with people, and it's really nice.
And do you make time for yourself to make glass for fun?
So the studio's technically closed on Mondays. Mondays are kind of like my day. So me and a couple other glass friends, we come in, and some other renters will come in, and then that's where I like make stuff for me. If I have some orders lined up, I'll make those, and if I don't have orders, that's when I get to just play, and I'll just what what do you want to do today, guys? And you want to have a goblet day? We'll just make goblets all day today. That's that's what I look forward to most in the week is just the playing with the material. And even still, 20 some years in, I love just playing with the material. Like it doesn't get old. Yeah, you're sitting there with your friends, you're bonding, turning up music, you're joking around while you're playing with, again, I like to call it pretty lava. But yeah, you're just playing around with glass, doing new things. Oh, I saw this video, someone did this. Let's try that. Or like you kind of bounce ideas off each other and get creative. I feel like creativity doesn't really happen in a vacuum. It's good to bounce ideas off of people. And like the other day, someone did something. He was like, I saw a video. I want to try this, and he was doing this. I was like, oh, that gave me an idea. This little tweak of that. Essentially, it's all been done before, but it's just variation on a theme. Is the new thing. It's just play. That's the best way to learn. It's just play. And yeah, I look forward to my Mondays, which is odd thing to say because most people hate Mondays. I love Mondays.
Do you ever find that you get stuck, or do you find that you always have sources of creativity?
I there was a period where I felt like I was stuck when I was at Cordetti Studio. We tend to just make the same things, and we didn't have many make your owns breaking up today. So it's just the same things, making low bowls and in shapes over and over again. I kind of felt a little creatively blocked. And had some flame worker friends, and they had a little flame workers meet up, and they would always just meet up, come up with some ideas, and create a challenge. And then the next time they would meet up, they would present their challenge pieces, and I would always go in as a furnace worker, meet up with these flame workers, and just kind of hang out, and then see what their challenge was, and then I would take that over into the hot shop, and then see if I can kind of make their flame work challenge, but in the hot shop and a totally different way of working glass. That really helped a lot with my feeling more creative and kind of just testing myself and get my brain gears turning. But nowadays, I feel like I got too many ideas and not enough time to put. Actually, I got so many half-started projects laying around this house. It's ridiculous. It's a problem for me. Like my I I get asked all the time, "What's your favorite piece to make in glass?" And I'm always the next piece. Like once I've made it, that was fun. That's cool. Let's do something else, new and different. And I always like to when I have a customer come in that doesn't know anything about glass and they come up with some crazy idea, and I got to really try and kind of cook my noodle to figure out how to make it work. Those are usually my kind of favorite projects that kind of like really push me to think about how to get things done. But yeah, creativity nowadays isn't that hard. It's more of a time thing and sticking through a project and not starting something new. That's the hardest thing for me right now.
Feels on that. Is there a big flame working community around you? Do you have any torch work experience?
Yeah, so back when I was at Art of Fire a few years in, I went on eBay and got like a little Nortel mid-range and was doing a lot of flame working. I had a whole setup and was playing around with it. I realized it really wasn't for me. I like the furnace working, like I like getting into it, feeling the heat. Whereas flame working, I feel like I'm just sitting there twiddling my thumbs. Not, it's just not as responsive as furnace working is, I feel like. Don't get me wrong, love flame working. I still make really cool things, especially like a lot of marbles and paperweights are just the depth and the clarity that borosilicate has over soft glass. I love, but as far as actually doing it, I prefer furnace work. But what's kind of difficult in Baltimore, there really aren't flame working studios. There's one not too far from our studio, but it's a lot of pipe makers, so it's a bunch of kids in there making pipes, and we get asked all the time, does anyone want to teach flame working? I'm like, we have one over there, but it's it's just a lot of kids making pipes, and they don't really teach many classes there. There used to be a place in Frederick, which was like an hour outside of Baltimore. That's where I was going with my friends. They had a little pretty decent flame working community in Frederick, but unfortunately that shut down. And my friend that I used to link up with for that, she moved away. Don't really have that anymore. But I feel like a lot of flame workers, you can do it anywhere. A guy I work with, he just does it on his, like in his little sunroom. I just recently, not recently, but I gave all my flame work stuff away to a friend who was going through cancer just to give her something to do while she's going through chemo. And but yeah, when I had it, I would just do it right outside on my patio. A lot of fun. Just got to watch out for the windy days. A lot of burnt knuckle hair.
Yeah. And so going back a little bit again, when you have an idea, do you like make lists, draw it out? Like, how do you keep track of all those ideas that you have?
That's a problem for me a lot of times too. Like a lot of times I'll just write in my notes on my phone. I'll just pay like black, white, cane, switch. I'll forget about it. Months later, I'll be like, what was that idea? Like, I don't, black, white, cane, what? But that's a problem for me. I do have sketchbooks, and usually I don't draw out the end product too much. It's more about the process. So I'll pick up cane here and I'll draw the stuff cup pattern that I want in there. So it's usually like bits and pieces, but never this is a full like figured out thing in my sketchbook. It's usually just very, I don't know, I guess I'm very scatterbrained. And then start something and then, oh yeah, that project. I know where I was at with that. I'll come back to that a year down the road and get back at it. Yeah, I built a whole electroforming system and then have pieces just waiting to get electroformed. They're all painted, they're all sandblasted, ready to go. I just need to electroform it, and I just haven't done it yet. It's just went on to the next thing. Now I'm on to wood, so I have all these grand ideas for incorporating wood and glass together. And then I'm sure as soon as I really get going on that, I'll make something else, and never fully finish anything.
95%, right?
Yeah, it's a definite struggle for me.
So you make most of your income like working through the studio, right? So all of the
Mhm.
things that you do for fun, you can kind of make it without a concern about it having to sell.
Yeah, and I also do craft shows to get the glass out of my giant Tupperware containers so I can put more glass in the giant Tupperware containers. Yeah, so that's craft shows are a good avenue for just making more room for glass. So making income was really nice. So we do a lot of make your owns there. They go through the process, and then we also have tips as an option too, which is really beneficial because people coming in, they tip an extra. It's just that extra little cherry on top on your paycheck, which it really does significantly increase your pay, which really helps out a lot, making you be able to kind of breathe a whole lot easier, knowing that you got your hourly, but you getting a good little cherry on top is very, very beneficial. I'm very thankful for people for doing that. Yeah, so that's pretty much where I make most of my money. It's just a lot of make your owns and then just production. And then once I make enough stuff, do some craft shows. And there's a pretty decent little craft show circuit around here that I do. But yeah, could always sell more glass, which would be nice.
One of the questions that Christina and I used to ask all the time is about imposter syndrome. Is that something that you find impacts your life? And do you have any words of wisdom to pass on to all your fellow glass artists who also feel like they're an imposter sometimes?
As in, like, you're in this place and you feel like you don't deserve to be there.
Yeah.
Um, I I don't really feel that per se. I guess I don't really think about it. I kind of I'm focused just what's on the next thing, and I don't really, again, I don't like talking about myself at all. So like I try not to, guess, internalize anything. Yeah, I don't feel like I feel an imposter type syndrome. I feel very fortunate that I get to do what I love every day, and I feel uh, bad for the people that go to work and don't like their jobs, which is, it's just really really unfortunate. And I'm very fortunate that I can just I play for a living essentially. It's very enjoyable. Yeah, as far as words of wisdom, people that do feel that way, I'd say that I don't worry what people think. You do you, focus on what you're doing, and just keep making glass, make what you want to make. Just still do what you got to do to make ends meet, but still just have fun with glass and don't worry about what other people think. You're doing good. You're you're not an imposter. Yeah, no. If you're blowing glass, you're doing good. You're And if you can make a living doing at it, you're doing a lot better than a lot of other glass blowers, because so many people want to do it. So many people. I've taught so many people that love it, but again, it's such a difficult thing to do, and you need to invest so much time and money to get bad at glass blowing. Like, it takes many years to get just mediocre at glass blowing. And there's some few people that just take to it duck on water, and some people they really gotta work at it and struggle with it and just kind of keep fighting the material, and uh and then finally start making some stuff that they like and feel like they can sell. It just keep at it. That's all I can say, because then it takes a lot of time. And like I was saying before, you can watch videos, but unless you're sitting at the bench, you, that you're not going to get good at glass blowing. You have to feel the material, see the timing, work the feel the heat, get see what's happening. So it's just take time, stick with it. It's my real advice for people. It's difficult. There's some burns along the way, but it's worth it in the long run if you're really passionate about it.
Mm-hmm. Right. And is there anything else that you want to add? And if there isn't, can you give some information on where people can find you? I know that you're not big on the social medias, but
I do have social media. I just don't post very frequently. My personal one is Dave the number 4 billion, but I have a glass account that's just glass. As company is called Liquid Prism.
I'll link it on the bottom of the description too.
Okay.
And then they can find you at the studio that you work at almost
Yep.
every day of the week.
Yeah. Just come on by. Just go to McFadden Art Glass, call or email. We'll get you on the schedule. Come in, make some glass.
Cool. Thank you so much for your time. You did so good.
Oh, thank you. That was wonderful talking to you. Great seeing you again. I feel like it's
Oh, I
been a
know.
long time.
Thank you so much for listening to Shaping Stories. If you like our podcast, please make sure to follow on whatever platform you're listening on. We are always grateful for your reviews to help other artists find us. You can find us on Shaping Stories Pod on Facebook and Instagram. And please make sure to support this artist that we interviewed today. It's a lot of guts to come on here, and we appreciate them being vulnerable and sharing, and especially for their very valuable time. If you know somebody that might like to be interviewed, or you might like to be interviewed yourself, I would love that. Please send an email over to me to dom@terrapinglass.com. I really look forward to seeing you, and I can't wait to continue with this project.